All right, guys, here we go. We are in the home stretch. Only 2 weeks to go until the Black Bear Americana Music Fest kicks off Columbus Day weekend. Right now, if you use the code ROADIE30, that's ROADIE and the number 30, when you check out through the Black Bear website, you will get 30% off your entire ticket price for the weekend. Head over to blackbearmusicfest.com, use the code ROADIE30, get yourself 30% off your ticket price. Come and see me. I'm going to be hanging out with a lot of cool people and a lot of cool bands. Can't wait to see you there October 11th, 12th, and 13th.
All right, what's happening, roadies? This is Carly Scoville.
This is Jason Springson.
What's happening, roadies? This is Lisa Affenzeller, and you're listening to Roadie Free Radio.
What's up, roadies? My name is Larry Milburn, and this is Roadie Free Radio, your VIP pass to meet and greet the stars behind the scenes of the music and film business. All right. What's happening, roadies? Welcome. Episode 148. My guest today, this week, right now, is Miss Lisa Affenzeller from Hamburg, Germany. Before we jump into that, how are you? Thank you again for stopping by. This is your host, Larry Milburn, coming at you from a barn in Northwest Connecticut. Today's show is sponsored by Stagehands Clothing, folks. Your one-stop shop for high-quality, durable workwear and accessories for backstage and on-set professionals. When you need to be ready for the next task, check out stagehandsclothing.com and use the code ROADIE to get 20% off your entire order. That's ROADIE to get 20% off your entire order. What in the name of Jezebel is going on, friends? Woo! I'm fired up. I'm having regular coffee right now. For those of you that have been taking score, keeping track, keeping your eye on me, you know with AFib, I'm supposed to be downplaying the regular coffee. But you know what? I had to do it this morning. It's a wet, rainy New England fall day, and I needed a little Java to get the blood flowing. Guys, AES, the Audio Engineering Society party is happening October 16th through 18th. Who else is coming? I know John Kane's coming. He's coming with me. That's how I know. I'm sure I'm going to see some of you New Yorkers there, and I can't wait to do so. So give me a shout. info@roadiefreeradio.com. Someone reached out from Avid to see if I would come by the booth and learn about their a new console they're unveiling. So I said, yeah, I don't know anything about these consoles. I'd love to come down and learn a thing or two about a thing or two. So I got that. Going to go see my friends over at Telefunken and just a lot of cool people. I love going to this show. It's 2 hours away. I get to see a lot of friends, meet some new people, and do some schmoozing. And I want to see you. I want to see you. You right there. Yeah, you on the train listening to this episode right now, you in your car listening to this episode right now, you kicking back on the couch or on the tour bus. I want to see you at AES in October. So hit me up, info@roadiefreeradio.com. Listen, few things going on over the next few weeks I got to tell you about. Coming up next week, episode 149, singer-songwriter and one of the organizers behind the Black Bear Americana Music Festival, Ian Campbell's going to be on the show. He stopped by the studio about a week or so ago, played me a tune, one of his original tunes. Great song. He's been at it a long time. That was a great episode. We dug deep into his genesis as a songwriter and now as a festival organizer and what that looks like and everything. And then here we go. Episode 150. My guest, folks, is Mr. TJ Hoffman, roadie TJ Hoffman, and also director behind the feature-length film. I did the short film, Roadie. He did the feature-length film called Roadie, My Documentary. I told you I had a list of people I wanted to do the 150th episode with, and TJ and I had been talking. We've been trying to figure out when to have him on the show, and I was like, you know what, dude? You're the guy. You are the 150th guest. You got a similar track as mine, and that you poured your heart out and made this film. It's 15 years since I made my film. You're coming on. You're the guest. And he's a roadie. What the fuck? That's what we celebrate here. The people behind the people that actually get it done. If you don't know TJ, great dude, great film. The film has not officially come out yet. I believe it comes out in November. He had a date switcheroo he had to pull, so he's going to let us know about that. He is coming up for the Black Bear Americana Music Festival. We are going to do the episode on site at the Black Bear Fest, and I'm going to get it out to you right when it's done. So 150th episode, TJ Hoffman. It's going to be great. If you don't know him, he was out with Skid Row, Kiss on the final tour as a tour manager, drum tech, guitar tech for a lot of different bands. Great dude. Very much looking forward to our 150th episode. We would not be here, folks, doing this without you guys. So thank you very much. Also coming up, I literally just put the deposit down yesterday. So there's no info on our website yet. There's nothing except this. November 16th. If you are in the Connecticut area, the New England area, hell, forget the tri-state New England area. If you're on the East Coast, you better come to this event, man. David Dan, who's been on the show, author David Dan, who wrote the new definitive biography of Michael Bloomfield, Guitar King, Michael Bloomfield's Life in the Blues, is coming to my hometown November 16th in Washington Depot, Connecticut. And we are going to do a chat about his life, his book, and we've got another special guest, Sandy Warren, director of Horn from the Heart, the Paul Butterfield story. She will also be joining us, as will some special guests. Now, I'm still working out those special guests, but they are special. We've got a list of people we are going to be inviting to come along to this. And so if you guys can make it 5 to 7 p.m. November 16th, right here in Washington Depot, Connecticut, there will be stuff on the website. I will be blasting it out on social media, so you will be hearing about this quite a bit. Sandy Warren, director of Horn from the Heart, the Paul Butterfield story, as well as David Dan, author of Guitar King, Michael Bloomfield's Life in the Blues. We are very excited to be putting this on, and can't wait for you guys to be there and check it out, man. Listen, speaking of Black Bear Americana Music Festival, I haven't done this really on the show yet. I'm going to do it now. As I mentioned, Ian Campbell next week, he plays a tune on the show. Jason Spooner of the Jason Spooner Band, who has been a guest on the show, who's a gentleman that I grew up with here in Washington, Connecticut. He is going to be playing Saturday afternoon. I think he's got like a 1 or 2 o'clock slot at the Black Bear Music Fest. And he sent me his new single called All Things Equal. And I thought, you know what? Why not play the single for you guys and let you get a little taste of his music. I'm very excited about this song. I think it's one of his strongest. And let's just get to it. Here we go. Jason Spooner Band, All Things Equal.
Steeple. It's just as
Right? Right? Jason Spooner Band. Come on down, guys. Black Bear Americana Music Fest. Come see Jason Saturday afternoon. Great guy, great band, killer band, actually. That was a great tune. Jason, thank you for sending it along. All right, so real quick, before we get to today's guest, we are also sponsored today by Show Pro Beard Co. Chris Wilson, the audio wizard, and his wife have created their very own unique formula of beard balm that not only performs well in terms of health and nourishment, but also provides the control, shine, and pleasant aroma that any bearded professional would appreciate. These non-waxy, all-natural beard balms will leave your beard soft, smooth, and nourished. Choose from a variety of natural smelling scents like Home Sweet Home, Morning Wood, Through the Woods, Chain Motor Oil, and of course, Original Unscented. Use the code RODI to get 20% off your entire order. That's RODI to get 20% off your entire order. Okay, now, this week we have got today's guest, man. Lisa Affenzeller, all the way from Hamburg, Germany, sound engineer, stage manager, tour manager, production manager. She has been on the road with Butcher Babies, Kobra The Lotus, Kiefer Sutherland Band, Devin Townsend Project, Casualties of Cool. The list goes on and on over the last 10 years. She is proficient over a wide range of digital consoles, including SSL, Digico, Soundcraft, Avid, Yamaha, and Midas consoles, people. She's been doing it. She's been rocking. I was going to say she's been rocking the Wacken. Wacken. I'm having a tough time with that one right now. Anyway, massive European open air festival. She's been at all of them. The Reeperbahn. She's been at Warner Music Group, Mojo Club in Hamburg. She's paid her dues, kids. She's paid her dues. She's one of those that knows if you want to get ahead, you got to put your head down and you got to hustle and grind it out to get to where you want to be in this business. And that's what she does. We had a great chat. It was a good time. I hope you enjoy it as much as we did giving it to you. All right, so here we go. Let's quit screwing around and just get to the episode, man. I love you guys. Here we go. Miss Lisa Affenzeller.
Hit it. Call yourself a roadie. Call yourself a roadie. Call yourself a roadie.
You are currently in Hamburg, yeah?
That's correct. It's also pretty dark outside.
Yeah, it's late. Thank you so much. It's like 9 o'clock?
It's 9, yeah.
Did you have a busy day today? Was it a day off? What's going on?
No, it's a pretty day. It was a busy day for me today because we have the Reeperbahn Festival coming up next weekend from Wednesday until Saturday, which I'm heavily involved with that for Warner Music currently. Okay. And yeah, but all good. Exciting times ahead. We have a really cool show coming up on the Reeperbahn Festival. It's a very, very cool festival. It's similar to the South by Southwest in Texas.
Yeah.
I think it's basically like a blueprint of that just over here in Europe.
And when you say you're doing that for Warner, what are you doing for them?
Currently, they say I'm being the project manager of the Warner Music Night. And at the Warner Music Night, it's at the biggest venue around Reeperbahn Festival is taking place, and we have 3 bands playing there. And I'm just trying to tie loose ends, get it all organized, connecting people with each other, guests, partners, and bands and production and everything. So that's actually not my usual job that I do all year long, but this is my 3rd Warner Music Night.
Nice. Yeah, because I was going to say, your normal thing is front of house, right?
Exactly. I am a front of house engineer, and I'm also a production manager from time to time, but my main gig is front of house engineering.
Tell me a little bit about the Reeperbahn Festival in general. Have you ever mixed a band there?
I think I got to mix a band there every now and then. I think this is my 8th or 9th Reeperbahn Festival since I've been living in Hamburg. I live in Hamburg since about 10 years now. And I've really always been somehow involved with Reeperbahn Festival. I was either stage managing one of the many, many stages that are happening there, or I was getting to mix a band here and there, smaller scale stuff, but it's just smaller venues and a lot smaller bands, but a lot of them.
Right. Okay. So when you say it's kind of like South by, you mean it's like they take over all the clubs. It's not like one of your big outdoor crazy 100,000 people festivals.
It's not Wacken Open Air, no, but it is. It's exactly what you just said. It's a festival where like every club, even the bank has a stage. The little ice cream shop has a stage. The St. Pauli Stadium has a little stage somewhere in their fan shop. There's outdoor stages. There's indoor stages. The local, the strip club around the corner has a stage for a Reeperbahn festival. So, yeah.
Well, the strip clubs there are known for their stages because they also launched a very famous band, right, back in the early 60s.
You mean that one band from Liverpool?
That one band of 4 boys from Liverpool. Exactly.
Yeah, we get to hear that a lot.
Start. Yeah, I bet you do. I bet you do.
I think Hamburg and the Reeperbahn is still heavily advertising that.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they're getting a lot of mileage out of that. Do you get to, for the stuff you're going to do for Warner, are you just at one location and you get to sort of hang tight there, or do you get to bop around to a few of the different venues to do what you're going to do?
No, this one is just one location, which is the Docks. Docks is a quite well-known venue quite in the middle of Reeperbahn, literally. And it's just one night, 3 bands, and a really big party. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's awesome. Do you wish you were mixing front of house?
You know what? Last year, our secret headliner was Muse. Mm-hmm. So we had Muse playing at that tiny venue, in this case, for that band. And their front of house rig was insane. First of all, I that was probably the most insane front of house rig that venue has ever seen before. Probably also the most wicked front of house rigs that I personally have ever seen before. It was ridiculous. And then, and we got to Muse played in front of, I don't know, maybe it was 1,400 people there, tops. And it was so very good. And this year we will be having the band from UK called FOH.
Okay.
And I don't know what they're yet bringing, but I'm sure having a sneak peek there if my time allows it, because I'm usually running around like a crazy person, just organizing stuff and things.
Yeah, stuff and things.
Yeah.
It sounds like the name of a pub.
Yeah, right.
Or a cartoon.
If I ever quit the road, I might do that.
I think you should. If you ever quit the road, any plans to quit the road down the line?
Not in the near future. No, I'm actually still having fun out there. I'm doing like somehow of an office job for the past 2 months, doing this festival and organizing things. I still have local gigs every now and then, and I was heading out over the festival season. I was still heading out on weekends for some major European festivals, and I did that. But I think now, in the overall, it's about time for me to jump on the bus again, I guess.
Yeah.
So
you get the itch to get on the road?
Little bit, yeah. I learned this great word recently called antsy.
Yes.
I didn't know that was a word. But yeah, I'm getting antsy to get back out again.
What's the longest you've been out?
On tour? Like one tour?
Oh, like away from home and on tour. Yeah. One tour.
I think 9 weeks was the longest that I've done.
Did that feel like, oh, you were just getting your groove and you could have stayed out longer? Or were you like, okay, 9 weeks, that's good. I'm done. Let's get home.
I guess on that particular tour, we had a really awesome group of people. I loved the gig. I loved the show. The fans were incredible. And after 9 weeks, I think all of us were like, oh, wow, was that 9 weeks already? I could do another 2, So, but I guess it depends. It depends on the camp. It depends on the show. It depends on the group of people that you're out with. Sometimes I do like 3 weeks and I'm like, oh my God, I'm counting the days until I'm back home. But sometimes I also did like 8 weeks in the US, which I thought was long, but it was a pretty good run and we all had a good time. So, yeah.
Was that your first time in the U.S.?
That was my first time in the US, yes.
How was it?
Good. I
Was
had
it everything you thought it was going to be?
I don't think I had crazy expectations when I came to US for the first time. I don't think that there was anything that I'm like, oh my God, I bet it's going to be like this, or I bet it's going to be like this. That wasn't the case. There were some venues where I thought like, cool, I always wanted to do that venue. I think one of them was Gas Monkey, where I thought like, oh yeah, we're playing Gas Monkey. That's awesome. I always wanted to get myself like an original Gas Monkey shirt or whatever, and I watched the cars outside and being like all, I think ever since I was a kid, I was into US cars. And so that was cool. But I think you're having less of a language barrier when you tour the US. I think that's the main thing that makes it a little bit easier from time to time.
Yep.
Whereas as opposed to touring Europe, but yeah, usually I tour Europe all the time.
Yeah. Were there any things unexpected when you came to the US for the first time, particularly on the work side?
The non-existing hospitality, catering. I don't know. I think this is, I don't want to sound a dick like that, but I think in Europe it's a lot more common to be fed when you do a show, whereas in the US you not really have, I mean, unless you like, I guess unless you're not arena tour and you not have your own chef and you're touring on a certain level, if you're doing like a club run through the US, I think feeding myself was an issue in America from time to time, because I think the first couple of days I thought food is trying to kill me.
Yeah, because I know, a lot of times it's like what we call craft service. It's just sort of like light snacks and coffee and stuff like that. And then, and maybe there's a meal before the show, between soundcheck and the show. And then maybe at the end of the night, the main thing is pizza. Do you guys in Europe do it better throughout the day?
Some countries do. Not all countries in Europe. Not all countries. You can't really count UK to that. But I guess some countries were like, when you tour like the Netherlands or Germany or Poland, for example. I love touring Poland because hospitality and catering in Poland is always awesome. It's always great. For some reason, the fans are crazy. Hospitality is good. The shows are nuts. It's always good there. So
you do a lot of heavy metal bands.
That's right.
That's your thing.
It's not really my thing.
It's not really your thing. It's
no,
not. It just has ended up what you've been doing. And you're wearing a Cramps shirt. Very cool. Good for you. Nice.
Yeah. I don't really know how I ended up with heavy metal. It's like a hen or egg kind of thing. Was it me being into rock music before I started this job, or was this job eventually bringing me to listening to metal music? I can't really recall that, but I think with this particular genre, I did something right, I guess. So there was one gig, and then there was another gig, and then there was another gig. And I'm now at a point where I say, well, I think this is my thing now, and I'm doing it right, and I might as well just stick with it.
Yeah. Cool. Is it a music that you were naturally drawn to, or no?
Initially?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I think when I was a kid, I was obviously heavily into Californian high school punk and listening to Green Day and thinking I was an anarchist or something like that. But metal, no. I think I was listening to Pantera because I thought Pantera was always cool. And I think Pantera was one of the bands that slowly got me into metal. But then again, I started out doing a lot of thrash metal. So, and I found myself mixing bands that released their debut album like before I was born.
Yeah.
So like some really old school dudes, and that was obviously something that was new to me.
Right. That's fun though.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, you're getting that.
I'm slowly, after like 8 years, getting the hang of it. I guess
I've only seen video footage and photographs of Wacken Open Air, but it's massive. Yeah,
it is. Yes,
like 100,000. Is that what it is, basically?
I think you're close to 100,000. I think the official numbers are 75,000.
Okay.
Like 75,000 tickets being sold. But if you add crew, artists, the whole infrastructure, everything, if you add everything on top of it, I think you'll be reaching 100,000. I don't put my, I can't really say for sure, but it sure feels like that.
Right. And you've mixed front of house there. Main stage.
No.
No, not main stage. Okay.
No, I did not mix main stage. Although maybe one day, I really hope so. There is Wacken is not only the Wacken Open Air in summer. They do a lot of different shows around the year. They have the Wacken Winter Nights, where I got to mix front of house. This is true.
Okay.
Then they have the Full Metal Cruise, Full Metal Mountain, Full Metal Holiday. It's stuff going on all over Europe. Little tiny festivals here and there. But I've always, since the past 6 or 7 years, I've always been a visiting engineer at Wacken Open Air. So I always had at least one band playing on one of the many stages. I think it's 12 stages in total.
Okay. So even on one of those smaller stages, when you're mixing, I mean, how many people are you mixing for?
A lot, like 10,000 or something.
Yeah. I guess what I'm trying to get at, Lisa, is like, what is it like? Give me the experience for you standing in the middle of that crowd, with that much power on stage and that many people around you mixing for that. Take me there.
Well, if something fucks up, you sure as hell have a lot of turning heads at you. I guess this is always a risk there, but I think I'm now at the point where I can blend it out really easily. Like there's pictures of me, like photographs of me mixing front of house where I don't look happy. But that's not because I'm not happy doing it. It's because I'm really, really concentrating. So I'm always like, most of the pictures of me on front of house are really awkward pictures of mine because I look like, I mean, you can't see this now on audio, but I look like, really concentrated and trying to just like be like this and blending out everything else. So I'm really trying to be a part of the live show and a part of the audio experience and everything. Sometimes if my light engineer is doing something wrong, I wouldn't even recognize because I never see lights or pay attention to lights because I'm always kind of looking at my board and having my ears straight ahead, but always with my head a little bit down and just looking at my board and see that things going on. So, yeah, I really crawl into my world like this. Yeah.
Do you, you spent time at SAE, you went to SAE for audio and music production, yeah?
I did, yeah. I did the SAE in Vienna. Mm-hmm. That's how I started.
Tell me about your experience there.
Oh, it was such a long time ago. I don't really know. I think it was a lot of trial and error. Yeah. A lot of holy fuck, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Uh-huh. But 10 years later, still ending up somehow where I wanted to be. So I guess I did everything right so far.
Was that your first? Well, let's go back further than that. So you grew up in Austria, yeah?
I did, yes. I was born in Zell am See in the Alps of Austria, like way up in the mountains.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not too many concerts going on up there, right?
Not too many what?
Concerts going on up there, or were
no! Oh fuck, no! It was being a teenager. There was, I mean, it wasn't hard or anything, but the next biggest city where there was something going on was either Salzburg, but Salzburg is not entirely on the touring map of all the major bands. But the next bigger one was Munich, which is a 2.5 hours drive. Now, from an American point of view, that's probably around the corner. But from a European point of view, that's pretty far away.
Well, especially if you're coming down from the Alps and the whole thing, right?
Well, we still have roads and highways, so.
Right. Well, I know, but I mean, to come down and make the trek, you have to go through, I'm sure there's several mountain passes you have to get through.
Yes, but it still takes you 2.5 hours to Munich. So it's like
a solid 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah. We are a big ski tourism region, so there's a lot of airports and trains and infrastructure like that.
Yeah. But not a lot of stuff for you as a kid to go see is my point.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So how did you first, get bitten by the bug or the inspiration to follow this path into live music?
Ever since I was a child, I always wanted to do shows. That's for sure. I always wanted to produce shows or be involved with shows or everything like that. But I was never quite interested in playing an instrument because I thought it was lame. I never had the patience for it to practice or never. I was always really, really musical, very musical, and very much into music. But I just didn't care about playing an instrument. So at some point, I wanted to go into conducting. That was my thing for a while. Growing up in a classical household.
Who was the classical person in the household?
My parents are both classic enthusiasts, and they have always been since I can think. So they don't
musicians as well, or just listening?
No, same as me. No musicians, but going to shows a lot and enjoying operas and theaters, literally like every second weekend. Going something and they're very, very big classic enthusiasts. So I grew up with that, and then I being in Austria, where the possibilities with classical music training are endless almost, I thought I wanted to go into conducting, but then it's puberty and rock and roll and tattoos and punk rock and worn out jeans and everything, and I thought like, that's not my jam anymore. And I thought like, oh wow, there's a thing called sound engineering. And and I've always wanted to do something with music, and I was keen doing something with engineering. So that's how I ended up with sound engineering.
Were your parents at all disappointed that you were going to kind of go in this classical track and then took a right turn to rock and roll?
I think in hindsight, they think what I do is pretty cool.
Okay.
So
which means at the time,
maybe they have had some doubts on one of two of my life choices, probably. But every good parent will have that with their child at some point. I think that's what it is.
Was there anyone around before you went to SAE that you could look at and go, oh, that's what they do. That's what they're doing. And someone you could ask questions of or get a little mentorship, or no? Did you just go into SAE cold?
Yeah, totally. Like green as hell. I went into SAE. I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. I probably knew a little bit of Pro Tools. I think I knew a little bit about Logic, but I had no idea about converters or head amps or microphones or condensers or dynamics or whatever. Like I had no idea. No.
And you're pretty technically minded as well, right? Soldering and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so where did you pick that up from? Just at school, or was, again, growing up?
No, learning by doing.
Yeah.
I think we have this great phrase in German. I don't know if that translates to English, which is called being thrown into the cold water.
Yeah.
Like if
we
somebody
call it being thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing, I guess. You just somehow make it happen. I think I spend a lot of time on YouTube, believe it or not. and the
that makes
internet,
sense.
and just,
Yeah.
you know, where like, I don't know, being 18 or 19 years old in a club somewhere and somebody throws you a cable, says, Lisa, fix it, and you're too proud to say, oh, I don't know how, then I would just go, and taking probably a lot longer than I was expected to take, but hey, in the end I got it right. So
Yeah. So you came out of SAE. How long was the program?
3 years, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
You come out of SAE and you think, all right, I'm ready. I got this. How did that go over? Did you start working right away?
I did not. No. Yes. So I was moving to Germany, and my first stop was, for some reason, Sony Music. And I was interning there for half a year because I thought, like, okay, this is cool. I got the production side of things done and the engineering and the sound engineering side of things. Now I want to see what a label does. So I was interning there for 6 months. And then I ended that. And then I moved between a few cities across Europe. So I did SA in Vienna. I moved to Munich to do Sony Music. Then I got a job for another little agency in Berlin, and that for a few months. But in between that time, I always here and there helped out some little bands doing what they do during their live gigs. But real front of house engineering is what I started when I came to Hamburg. Mm. I did, like I said, I did like some really little bar gigs before that, here and that, but the proper front of house engineering I started in Hamburg when I started working in different clubs all over the Reeperbahn.
Yeah. And why did you choose Hamburg?
I'm not really sure, because I was moving between, like I said, I was moving between a few cities in my early 20s. And obviously the first thing you do, and I was always by myself. It was just me and a couple of bags. And I think the first thing you do when you hit a new city is that you try to socialize. Yeah? You try to make social connections. And with Hamburg, I don't know, for some reason, those people I met friends with here were like the best group of people. And the city was always nice to me. And I always had a job for some reason. And I always had a local gig. And whenever I came back from touring, I had stuff to do here. So yeah, that's how I stayed. Yeah. And now it's been 10 years this year. Wow.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome, man. And what are some things you learned, let's say at school, that now you're kind of like, yeah, I never, that had no basis in anything for what I do. And I guess vice versa. Are there things you wish you had learned in school that would have helped you better?
Well, languages, I would say, of course, because I'm not a native speaker. I speak German, so languages do help when you tour in Europe, and vice versa. I'm not really sure. Maybe just tax stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just like
that type of stuff comes up a lot with guests that I have. In terms of like, there's a whole other side of sort of how to live that solopreneur or that independent contractor life that you don't learn about. Taxes, saving, putting money aside, taking care of yourself. There's all that kind of stuff that no one really talks about or helps with. Yeah,
until you have to learn it the hard way, right? And then it's usually too late. So nobody really prepares you to that.
Yeah, exactly. And so as you started to learn all this stuff, tell me about some of the technical things, that, the consoles and whatnot, the mics that you've come across, things that you've tried that you like. What are your favorites?
My favorites? That's an easy one because I've always been a Digico user through and through. Mm-hmm. So Digico the SD series was one of the first digital consoles where I learned on an XL4. I learned on a Midas XL4 and MK3 and those, but the venue I was first sound engineering had an XL4, which was great. And it was so big. They always gave me a little crate to stand on because I couldn't reach the top. So I thought that was a bit cute. And then we got an SD8. I remember that. So I was very early getting involved with Digico, and still to this day I use a Digico. I own an S21, which is like one of my favorite little consoles in the world. It's such a little power horse. I just did a festival run for 7 weeks with a UK band called TesseracT, where I had a fly pack with me because it was like 3 weeks on a bus, 2 weeks flying, and then another 2 weeks on a bus, and then another week flying, which was an SD11, which is it's like that, like a 19-inch rack, which I could fly with. So and I use it. I use it with Waves. Usually, all my Digicos, I always have a Waves multi-rack out front. And that's and mics. Well, I have here what I'm talking into right now. That's a DPA de facto. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw it. Yeah,
it's a very fancy microphone.
Very fancy. You sound amazing.
Thank you so much. That is one of my favorite stage vocal mics. However, they have just released a new vocal mic like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and I'm still yet to test that one out.
Okay.
So,
but they're going to send you one?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I should put that out in this podcast right now.
That's right. Maybe after this episode, you're going to get one. Get her one.
Maybe I have to send that one back, and then they give me the new one. No, I'm really keen to try that one because I think it's like how do you call that? Stage-proof vocal mic of DPA.
Yep.
Like the SM58 of DPA. Just a little bit, just sounding better, I guess.
Yep.
DPA was definitely one of my go-to microphones. I use them a lot for drums. I use the 4099s for drums. I don't know if you know them, the little tiny goosenecks.
Nope.
They're pretty rad for toms. I use them on all toms, and I obviously have a lot to do with kick drums and with double kicks and triggers and all that stuff. And I think throughout my whole years working with metal kick drums, I tried a lot of different combinations between inside kick drum, outside kick drum miking, etc., blending with the trigger, if there was a trigger, if there was no trigger, all sorts of constellations. And I usually always have two kick drums, so I have at minimum 4 channels of only kick drum.
Right.
Sometimes 5 with a trigger,
Right.
And the one combination I always get drawn back to is 5291. Sure, beta 52 and beta 91s for inside. To me, that's just a perfect match. So that's definitely one of my go-to microphones always. Yeah.
When you're meeting with a band for the first time, I like to ask people this. When you're meeting with the band for the first time, or management or whatever, tell me a little bit about the process that you go through to get to know them, establish a rapport, give them what they want, but also, add your touches to it.
Well, hopefully they give me production days, but that's not always the case. We don't always have a production day or a rehearsal days before the tour, because very often when I get a new band to work with, it's the first day of tour is a show day, and you'll just dig right in and you say hi, and my name is Lisa, I'm your front of house engineer, and then you throw and go. But I don't deal a lot with managements, actually. Okay. I am most of the time I'm actually being hired by the bands directly or by their tour manager, their current tour manager, who's maybe somebody who I've worked with before, or I think in metal, or maybe in any genre, it's a word to mouth thing.
Yep.
So I don't really have an interview or something before I start working with a band. I sent them my CV, and I hopefully they trust me enough that I can.
Yeah.
And then I start to tour.
And then you do it and you go for it. When you were at SAE, when you started at SAE, were there a lot of other women in your class?
Yeah, there was Macy. Macy, if you hear this now, hi to Vienna. She's a rad sound girl by now. She works in Vienna, and me. So two.
Two of you. Out of how many people? Do you remember?
Maybe it wasn't that much. Maybe 20.
Okay.
Maybe 20. Yeah, I guess.
Did you guys form an instant bond because you're both women in this whole group of guys? Or no?
Well, we've always been friends.
Yeah.
But I don't think that there was a particular bond between us. We've been friends. We've been a pretty cool group of friends at that SAE time. But you are also asking me questions about like more than 10 years ago, so I can't really recall all of that. But as far as my blurry mind,
10 years ago. Wait till it's like 20 and 25 years ago, Lisa. Don't give me this 10 years ago shit.
Okay, well, in 10 years by now, then when it's 20 years ago, I'll be on your podcast again.
And we'll come back and we'll see if you remember anything.
Yes.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, and I'm curious, maybe you can answer this too. Like, did you find when you came to the States and you toured in the States, did you notice anything different, or did it feel different being a woman touring here than it does in Europe? Does it feel over there like there's do you know the term, the glass ceiling?
Yeah, and I've heard that term a couple of times, and I'm actually, to be very honest with you, I don't really know what to make of it. Sometimes people keep mentioning that to me. Sometimes they trying to get out of me the exact same that you're trying to get out of me right now. And the honest answer is I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah.
I guess I do the same job over there than I do over here. And if the show is great and the kids love it, they'll love you on front of house regardless of who you are, what you look like,
right,
and what your status is, or if you're green, white, yellow, purple.
Yeah.
It's
right.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, I guess because it seems like over here, or at least with, a lot of the folks I've interviewed, there have been in the past a lot more, it's been harder for women to break in. Now, of course, the field is much larger.
But is that the case, though? Is it harder for women to break in?
Well, I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was, and I think in some circles it still is. But I think there are a lot more women. First of all, there's a lot more women doing it, and there are a lot more opportunities for women to learn now than there were before. Particularly within organizations like Women's Audio Mission and Sound Girls, right? There are more platforms and venues for women to go and learn than there were before.
Yeah, I think in times of social media also, they have a lot more chance to connect with each other and share their experiences and their tales from the road, and maybe have, minds alike, thinking like them. But I do strongly believe that the opportunities have always been there.
Yeah.
Because sound engineering has always been there.
Yep.
So it's just a matter of what you make of it.
Yeah.
Or if you can see the opportunities and grab them, if you really want it, if you really want to be out there and be a touring live sound engineer, you will get the chance of being a touring live sound engineer.
Mm-hmm. That comes from a pretty good, confident, optimistic place.
Well, I hope so. Like, of course, I try to encourage the girls to be engineers, because most of the girls that approach me, that they say, "Oh, this is so cool what you do, and I want to do the same, and I want to be a production assistant, or I want to be a TM assistant, or worse, I want to be a merch assistant, or whatever." And I want to shake him. I was like, "Don't be an assistant. Be a tour manager. Be a production manager. Be a sound engineer, because it's fun. It's way more fun than tour managing."
Right.
So I don't know why girls always aim for the assistant roles. This seems to be a thing.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. You production manage as well, or you have production managed as well. Do you like that side of it, or do you like just front of house?
Well, I do enjoy front of house only. That's true, but sometimes I do a double role, being production manager and front of house engineer. I do enjoy both worlds equally. I think when you are front of house engineering and you do the technical advance for a tour, you will get into production managing automatically, and stage setup and everything. So it's just there's no hard line between production managing and front of house engineering, at least on the level that I'm touring right now. So it's all, everyone just tries to put their show on the stage and make it happen and make it awesome.
Where would you like this to take you ultimately?
Definitely world tour, arena world tour, that way around. For sure. What?
Something in an arena around the world.
I want to have an arena that takes me around the world.
Got it.
Yeah.
A traveling arena show. Okay.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Imagine you don't have to tour. You just do the arena every day, and the rest, tours around you.
They tour around you. Wow, that's pretty good.
You make the fans tour.
Right. That just got real deep.
No, just to answer your question, yes, I'd like, of course, I'd like to do a big scale arena tour. I think that would be fun. I also do believe that arena tour might be an arena show might be easier than a shitty little club gig somewhere in Eastern Germany. Sorry about Eastern Germany there. It's just an analogy.
Slam them, right? Oh, man. Poor Eastern Germany.
Oh,
Jesus. Maybe. You never know. It could be an old shitty arena.
Maybe.
In
but you can still. But okay, let me word this differently. I'd like this to take me to a level where I can tour my own PA. That sounds better. So if the arena is still shitty,
yes,
I at least have everything with me apart from the room.
Affenzeller audio.
Maybe. Or the sound of Lisa, like I like to call myself.
All right, the sound of Lisa. It's on your email. I should have known. Damn it. The sound of Lisa. Is that your company name?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I like that too. That works.
Yeah, it's because of the sound of music, the sound of Lisa.
Yeah, gotcha. Yes, of course.
I know Americans love that.
You're a gal from the Alps. I know.
I know. The Americans love the sound of music. I hear that all the time.
Yes, we do.
It's funny because it's a not very popular movie in Austria.
Well, I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense, I would say, right?
It's just, I think the only reason why we know that movie is because of American pop culture.
Yeah.
Or just because we know it because there is some cultural heritage with it. But I think the Americans are way more obsessed over it than the Austrians are.
Yeah. Well, we kind of sort of glorified the running and singing through the Alps. I mean, unless you did that as a child. Did you do a lot of that as a child?
I'm not sure.
Did you run through the Alps singing Anarchy in the USA or in the UK?
Yes, I would say so, because all of that was also luckily pre-smartphones. So there's no There is no footage of that, if that was the case. I mean, I probably did a lot of dumb things while I was still a teenager in the Alps, but luckily there's no footage of that.
Right. There's nothing that can incriminate you for that.
Yeah.
Lisa, if I am looking at a stack of emails, if I'm looking, which I'm always looking at a stack of emails, if I'm looking at a stack of resumes or CVs, as it were, and I'm looking to hire a front of house engineer, what sets you apart from the other people in my stack of CVs?
Oh my God, probably nothing. I guess I know a thing or two about heavy metal or prog metal or the heavy music genre, as you can call it. I can handle heavy guitars and double kick bass drums. Yeah. And I think I am able to make a really, really loud, full-on heavy metal show sound powerful at 100 dB in front of house. I guess that's the aim. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go back to that arena world tour that you want to do. Give me the 3 bands that you would love to mix on that arena tour.
Okay,
headliners.
Considering the recent album, which is on my Spotify up and down the whole time, that's Slipknot for sure. I really dig that new record. One of the second one would be Lady Gaga for sure. I love Lady Gaga, and I've always loved her. I adore everything she does, what she is, the show, the music. Love it. And number 3 would be Rob Zombie, probably.
Yep.
Because I think Rob Zombie is great, and I think the show is a lot of fun, and it's so theatrical. It's so great. Yeah. I think that would be even one of the shows where I would look up from my front of house desk for during the show to see what's going on.
For 2 seconds and go, holy shit.
And then dig back in.
Yeah. Rob puts on a hell of a show. I've not seen Slipknot and I've not seen Lady Gaga, but I've been fortunate enough to go to a couple of Rob shows and 2 Rob shows and stand at the monitor desk.
Well, why? You should go front of house. Why would you want to stand at the monitor desk to watch it?
Well, because it's right there. He's right there. John 5 is literally right there.
John 5 is so awesome.
John 5's the best, man.
So great. But why would you want to do it?
Because I was invited there.
This is what they all say.
I was invited there. No one said go out to front of house. It was come stand here.
Right. But the real concert experience is at front of house. You know that.
Well, yes, of course it is. But I'd never been to a Rob show. That kind of music is not what I'm naturally geared toward. I mean, I like my punk and I like, heavier stuff, but the heavy metal thing, whatever. So, but going and seeing it that close, I was like, I got it. I get this. And now I listen to some of it for sure.
Yeah.
It's still just a groove.
Well,
Rob's very groove oriented.
I have seen Rob Zombie. I think the last time I saw him at Wacken, actually, that was, I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
That's an awesome show.
It was an awesome show if it wouldn't have been for the weather. I remember that really well because it was pouring and was mud all over and it was absolutely crazy that year. I have never seen a Slipknot show and I have never seen a Lady Gaga show. So there, now I've said it.
There you put that out there. All right, so we got to get that on your list. You got to go to both of those.
Yeah, well, I know for a fact that Slipknot just announced tour dates in Europe. So, which was it was a bummer because I did a couple of the same festivals with Slipknot.
Okay. But
it would always be like stage time. Slipknot was 10, and Bus Call Lisa was 9, or something like that.
Yeah,
and I think that was at least on 3 or 4 of the festival dates that we did over the summer. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer, man.
Yeah, it was a real bummer.
Yeah. Lisa, I got one more question for you, then I'm going to let you go because it's like 10 o'clock there. You're exhausted.
No, that's fine. It's 10 o'clock. It's nothing.
You're just getting started.
Yeah, right now I'm good.
Right? Lisa, you are packing for, we're going to do a hypothetical. You're packing for your arena tour. What are your must-haves that you always grab that have to be on the road with you?
My must-haves that I've always grabbed. Well, I've got a Pelican case that is pink.
Okay.
Which
I saw that in your Soundgirls profile. Did you make it pink? Did you paint it pink, or did it come that way?
No, it comes that way. They did it in pink. I think it was. I think if I'm informed right, it was a special edition for breast cancer awareness for a long time ago, and they made a couple of those in pink. And that one was a present, actually. But you mentioned mentors earlier. Yeah, one of my main mentors in life who believed in me a lot more than I did with this job. He gifted that Pelican case to me on my birthday one year.
Let's give him a shout out. Who's that?
He knows who he is.
Okay.
Let's put it that way. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And so that one has to go with me, and then my Leatherman, which is always with me. Mm-hmm. My torch. Oh, and I've got this little thing where I put all my passes on, my roadie passes on.
Your carabiner?
Yeah, carabiner, right. And that's also like a carabiner that I had since the very, very early days where I started sound engineering. And sometimes that's my lucky carabiner. So that one has to come with me.
Yep.
And what do I always take? Comic books for the bunk.
I was going to say, are you a reader? Are you listen to a lot of music when you're on the road?
I avoid listening to music, actually, because I'm the one out there being the only one really blasted by it. 6 shows a week, every week. So I really try with silence when I'm in my bunk. But I read comics. I do enjoy that. Yeah. And so
how do you protect your ears out there, Lisa? Come on now.
Well, shout out to JH Audio, who's always got my back with in-ears. I do protect my ears with JH Audio when I get to do monitors for the very rare occasions that I do, but usually I always have them with me. And I do have molds that I wear all the time when I'm not on my desk. So during support acts, etc., I always have my molds in. So I'm really trying to the very best to protect my hearing, especially when you do heavy metal all year long.
Yeah, right.
I guess that's what you do. I'm trying to come up with something really, really cool that, like a lucky charm. And it's such a good question, and I'm not prepared.
Well, I like the carabiner. That's a good one. Your lucky carabiner going all the way back. That's good. That's a good one. You must have a lot
I have a My Little Pony in my Pelican case. I sometimes put it on my desk. That's right.
There you go.
Sound pony.
What the sound pony?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sailor sound engineers with me sometimes as well.
Which one is?
Sailor sound engineer. Hold on.
What is that? Who is that? What is that? People can't see this, but this girl looks. What has she got around her eyes? She had a late night, this poor girl.
Did you have that in the US? Sailor Moon?
Sailor Moon, maybe. I don't know.
It was a comic.
It looks like you.
Right? That's why somebody gave that to me. Actually, a band that I've toured with, they gifted that to me at the end of the tour because they said I look like her.
Yeah.
And then I named her Sailor Sound Engineer.
Sailor Sound Engineer.
Yeah,
I
right.
wasn't quite getting that part. Got it.
So instead of Sailor Moon, she's Sailor Sound Engineer, and she sometimes sits on my desk.
She comes for a ride with the pony.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna set that up and send you a picture of it.
Please do. You've got to Instagram that out and tag us in it.
Right, I will do.
Lisa, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. That was really nice.
Lisa, what can I say? Danke Shane, darling. It was wonderful having you on the show. Thank you so much, folks. Don't forget, you can follow us during the week at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify, all as Roadie Free Radio. Check out the website, roadiefreeradio.com. Send me a note because you know I want to hear from you. That's info@roadiefreeradio.com. Stay tuned. Next week is episode 149. Ian Campbell, singer-songwriter, and one of the organizers for Black Bear Americana Music Fest. And my friends, in the meantime, y'all be safe out there. No roadies, no rock and roll.